Welcome to Thursday, June 24th, 2021. This Day Weather Podcast has some encouraging trends to talk about. The best chances of rain and some cooler temperatures we've seen in a long time will be settling on in as a trough and a cold front will be moving in as high pressure will retrograde to the west coast. These will be the best rain chances we've seen in a long time. This is especially for Wyoming and Colorado, parts of Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, western Kansas, western Nebraska, and western South Dakota. Now, for those of you listening or watching this podcast in the Pacific Northwest or California, well, you're going to bake. Both sides of the Continental Divide, this will be true in western Wyoming and western Colorado and into Utah, finally going to get some measurable rain chances over the next 4 days. And temperatures are going to be a lot more moderate. We do not see the return of some hot weather, at least into the Central Rockies and Central High Plains next week. Yeah, it'll get warmer, but I think we'll be able to keep the heat away all the way maybe through the 4th of July weekend, as high pressure will be more centered to the west of us. Need to let you guys know that I'm going to be away for a bit. I'm going to step away from the podcast just for a little bit more than a week. It's just some personal time off. I'm going to have a major change in latitude between now and the 4th of July weekend. Meteorologist Mark Hewer and meteorologist Don Watson will be taking over the podcast while I'm gone, but I'll be back right after the 4th of July. Don't forget the North Park Never Summer Rodeo is coming up this weekend. It starts on Friday, goes through Sunday. The Junior Rodeo gets started at 1 p.m. on Friday. The Never Summer Rodeo in North Park in Walden is just a great time. I've been mentioning the parade, and for good reason. The parade will be at 10 a.m. on Sunday in Walden. The best thing about the parade, there's three great things about the parade. Number one, it's a parade that happens twice. You'll know what I mean when you see it. Also, it's not a long parade. No one likes to sit for hours watching a parade. So it's short and sweet, happens twice, and it's very, very kid-friendly. Just think Halloween. Now let's take a look at what's coming. We've got this high-pressure ridge building up off the Pacific Northwest coast, off the coast of British Columbia. And this is causing the pattern to shift, allowing a trough of low pressure and a cool front with connections to Hudson Bay to slide into the high plains and Rockies. This is by Thursday or by this afternoon. And this is suppressing the heat down here and taking the ridge more off to the west coast. So the door now is open from central Canada into the central high plains and Rockies. By Sunday afternoon, the ridge amplifies and then the winds aloft come right in from the north-northeast into the area. You see this pattern? High pressure, low pressure, high pressure, and then some low pressure. Basically, this is going to cause a little bit of a log jam when you see the jet stream get really amplified like this. So along and near the divide and east, cooler air from central Canada will move in, while desert heat expands into the Pacific Northwest. Idaho, Washington, Oregon, Nevada, California will bake in this pattern. You're going to have a really big contrast, and here it is. These are the forecasted temperatures relative to average for Saturday afternoon. See all the blue and the green here? Really cooling off and upslope conditions. And then here's the heat into British Columbia and the Pacific Northwest, really just getting started. So extremely warm there, but not far away, the opposite. Now that's Saturday. Look at Sunday. The cool air gets really banked up against the divide and gets over the divide in some areas. And look at this. Look how much of the North American continent, at least in the central and western parts of the U.S., cooling off, but the heat wave builds up here and continues. So apologies to folks in Boise, across Washington and Oregon and the central valleys of California. It is just going to be roasting in those areas. Along and east of the divide is where the cool will be. Now this is the 10-day average of temperatures. So this takes us all the way through the 3rd of July. So you can see a lot of Wyoming, the Dakotas, Nebraska, Colorado, Kansas, down into New Mexico, and even some of the western slopes are showing temperatures either average or a little below average over a 10-day period. And coinciding with that is going to be a much better chance of rain. Now this is through Sunday afternoon. This begins today through Sunday afternoon. You can see lots of yellows and blues and greens. Shower and thunderstorm activity is going to be around. Notice right along the Continental Divide, the thunderstorm and shower activity is going to be quite good in the mountains of Wyoming and Colorado. Also, look at the I-90 corridor here of northeastern Wyoming and western South Dakota. Now, there's some drier air up here near the Montana line, but this area really needs rain, and I think has got a really good chance of it, in this area too, and along the western side of Colorado and in the mountains of Colorado. So this is really good news. Wasatch Front of Utah as well. I did receive several inquiries yesterday about the haziness. A lot of folks saw hazy, smoky conditions. That's from regional fire activity in parts of Colorado, Utah, and Wyoming. But this change in the weather is going to help out significantly with the smoke and haze. In fact, we're already seeing that today. So this is the precipitation forecast through Sunday. This is all the way through Saturday, July 3rd into the beginning of the 4th of July weekend. And you can see a lot of red and orange there. So we're going to see better chances of rain along with those cooler temperatures. So this is great late June into early July here to cool things off and to bring us some rain. Hopefully your rain gauge gets something in it over the next week to 10 days. As we look out further, this is all the way looking out to the 4th of July weekend. What I wanted to show you here is that persistent ridge is going to be up in the Pacific Northwest coast, but you see this little area of red? There's basically going to be an arch of heat from the desert states through the Pacific Northwest to the northern plains. But you see this gray area here and this gray area here? There's going to be an air mass in the central United States that's going to be cooler and more moist. So while heat and dryness will be in a ring like this, underneath that ring will be better chances of showers, thunderstorms, and more moderate temperatures as we go into early July. So that's pretty interesting going forward, leaving June and headed towards the new month. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel of Day Weather. Have yourself a good Thursday and a good weekend ahead, and keep your fingers crossed for that rain.